Hello everyone, and thanks again for joining in this Dutch city build called Richie Canaletto. Now we are looking at some small forms right here, but we're gonna change the scenery real quick because it's finally time to look in the first expansion called Bridges and Ports. Let's build a Dutch-inspired harbor for Richie Canaletto. Okay, first things first, while everything is going quite smoothly in Richie Canaletto, this map made by Pablo Ponderosa is actually, well, not suited, I wouldn't say, but it's not ideal to create like this large harbor area. However, of course, when you look at the harbor area in Rotterdam, this goes quite well from the ocean, quite into the city with a river slot around there. So we could use some inspiration from that harbor and create our own, which is basically the idea for this video. Now we're gonna need to make some changes, especially when it comes to terraforming. And as you can see upwards, I already tried out just a little bit. As you can see, widen up the river, but making sure that we still respect Pablo Ponderosa's work. So, you know, making sure that we still have this Dutch vibe right here as well. So my idea is the following. I thought it would be nice to, let me see, extend this road right over here that goes along across the ferry. Then widen up this road as well to a 2-lane street, and of course upgrade this whole area as well to a 2-lane street. Go all the way down here, and I love this intersection that is quite angled right here. I think this would be the perfect spot to basically reclaim the land and start off our harbor area right over here. I think it would be quite nice, and of course it would be very Dutch to use and reclaim the land. If you look at the Afsluitdijk, Flevoland, the waterwerken in Zeeland, these are all man-made. So yeah, it would be very interesting to reclaim this polder basically and create our own little harbor. So the basic idea is to extend this river all the way down here, making sure that every connection is still intact. Of course, we're probably gonna lose this area just a little bit, but yeah, I don't mind though. We're gonna create maybe a small swamp right over there, then reclaim this whole area. I think this would be a great spot to have these bigger container ships walking in and loading in their storage and stuff like that. And then basically create a smaller river around here, around the corner, which makes it a little bit more natural again. And hopefully this way we can create a big industry, heavy industry around this whole area, then create some farmlands in between, and then have a nice flow over into our city of Richie Canaletto. What do you guys think? I'm not so good at terraforming, so grab a chair, grab a cup of coffee, sit up straight, and let's dive in, shall we? Let's continue where I left off with widening this river. So we're gonna grab our landscaping tool right over here. Oh, and I'm gonna pause the game. Thank you for telling me, game. Thank you so much. Because I want to make sure the water simulation does not interfere with the work that we are doing right now. And I'm gonna grab this tool right over here, set up the brush size to around, well, let's say 350. I think that was the case for this river side right over here. That looks about perfect. Right click so we have the right intersection, and used anarchy as well, because I've not purchased these tiles just yet. So we're gonna cheat a little bit, but making sure that we have a little bit more space for the container ships going in and out of this area. Now, of course, as you can see, we're gonna interfere with the roads right here. Not to worry, I'm just using this for now so I can create these contour lines, as you can see, and then we're gonna demolish the roads, making sure that everything is equal, level, and nice and smooth. There we go. So as you can see, I already deleted the vegetation that was left behind underwater. So everything is nice and smooth already. The water simulation works out fine. There's nothing overflowing or some crazy stuff happening around here. So that's nice. And I already rebuilt this road around here. It's not perfect, but again, these tiles are not even mine at this moment, so I think that is perfectly fine for now. Now let's look at this seaway right around here, because I want to make sure that we can add a medium seaway to have some, well, a little bit more heavy traffic, basically, in this river, because I want to see some bigger ships, not some small, tiny ones. So let's see if we can make this happen. This is the narrow seaway, this is the median one. If I was correct, there we go. So as you can see, there's of course this already beautiful connection that we have here, but this was indeed the narrow seaway. Now we can continue this all the way down here, maybe hopefully into this river, and you know, maybe create some fisheries somewhere. Let's get creative with that in the future, but for now we are focusing on the harbor area. So we're gonna wreck this for now, making sure that even the connection is lost here. And well, I think this should work out fine, but for good measure, the game is on pause anyway. Let's just delete this for now, so we won't have any interference with that as well, and create our own seaway that will guide us through this whole area into our new harbor. So the medium seaway is in and works out perfectly. We have a perfect bend and nice shapes around here, so it's not too straight and narrow. But as I am looking at this area, I just love the detail that Pablo Ponderosa put into this map. All these small rivers and these small lakes areas. I think it's just a shame if I demolish this and, you know, create something straight and narrow to create a nice, clean looking harbor district right over here. So I was thinking maybe the other side right around here. Why not extend this river a little bit further all the way to here, demolish this road, maybe lose this land and create a big harbor section where the container ships can enter and also have the space to turn around, basically. And I think this works out quite nicely, because we can even connect up with the highway that is sitting right over here. I think that can be quite nice. Of course, there's gonna be a lot of freight traffic coming in and out of this area. So having a connection to this highway would be easy. It can easily go right along this river as well. And maybe to have a connection, of course, with our city, we can finally create a nice suspended bridge over here when I widen this river down here as well. So I think that would be perfect. Now the only thing is, where do I begin? Let's start off with demolishing that road right over here and widening that river again. Okay, progress is being made and it's starting to look like a something. So as you can see, I also purchased some tiles around here so I can just build on these plots of land without anarchy. So making sure the simulation works out fine in the future and we don't get any interference with that. And from the above side around here, you can see that I widened the river alongside this side and pushed the land a little bit inward. Okay, hi plane. Random. Push the land a little bit inward here to create a more harbor-like area where the container ships can dock and then turn around and back again to leave the city. But as you can see, I also widened this side of the river as well, making sure that a narrow seaway can still function here and can continue hopefully into the future a little bit more down as well. Maybe I have to widen this area just a little bit more. But of course, now we can have this beautiful suspension bridge. I hope I say that right, but I think this is a suspension bridge. This is the two-way highway double-decked with the train track, double train track underneath. It's a lot. But I just love the look and the feel of this suspension bridge. Also, this is a lift bridge, not a suspension one, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong, but this is a lift one that just goes all the way up and then down again to make sure the ferries or the container ships can go underneath. And I would just love to see that here close by with the harbor. So I think it would be very nice to see in the future. Now, what we're going to do with the train tracks underneath, I'm not sure yet, but I don't mind that we already have this. Because of course, this will be very busy with container and shipping products from here to there. So having this close by and already built should work out eventually quite well for us. Now, if you want to create something like this as well and make sure that everything is nice and neat, again, I just used the brush size at 350. And have it at 50% and push the land inwards to the area that I liked. But if you want to have these neat, nice curves here around this and these nice edges, just put your brush size to around 30. That's about like this size around here, which I pushed out as well. Of course, this whole land area. But then you can, and set the strength to 100%. Then you can easily create these really angular looking sections, which I think is quite significant to see in the harbor areas such as these. Now, for now, we're going to focus on this bit around here because I want to make sure that this highway connection goes alongside to this highway connection. And we're going to try and build a spaghetti interchange right here. So no on and off ramps or, you know, where traffic should get stuck, but hopefully a smooth spaghetti interchange where traffic just flows naturally from one side to the other side. Here I am going to use anarchy again because for this curvature around here, we're gonna exceed the city borders around here, but I'm not going to purchase this style just yet because I won't be building anything here right now. But let's try this and see what happens. Okay, I think infrastructure wise, we are all set. We've added a lot of interchanges, as you can see, but I did miscalculate a little bit. But I'm gonna tell you about that in just a second. First off, we have the spaghetti interchange right over here. I think it looks quite nice and quite smooth. This will be perfect for freight traffic to go in and out of the city because they don't have to make a hard right or a hard left or wait at some traffic sign. Of course, this is also the case for residents that goes across the river and into the city right over here. Now, as for this interchange, I've added this trumpet interchange right here because I wanted, again, make sure that freight traffic runs in quite smoothly. So I believe this works out perfectly here. And as I was building this, as you can see, the medium port entrance is already built because it connects up beautifully with this interchange right here. So there's an in and out section with this port here, and only freight traffic and employees will use this interchange for this case and this scenario, which I really like. So normal residents would not have the reason to go into here, but just move across this side and go along the river. So infrastructure wise, I think we're all set. Everything is connected up with the bridge right here. The roads are upgraded all the way into the city area around here. Maybe we can add interchange and an off and on ramp right over here, but we're gonna leave it now for as it is because now we can finally focus on the main thing of this video, and that is the harbor. So let's talk about my new plan basically and kill your darlings, as they say, when sometimes your first plan does not work out properly. Because as I mentioned before, I miscalculated just a little bit because I put the trumpet interchange in and the medium port entrance, but I put it on the wrong side. Because remember, I pushed the land quite nicely inwards around here, making sure there was enough space for the cargo ships. But now I placed it here. So we need to create a nice entrance and a nice harbor area around this side, because I do like the fact that we have this around here. So we're gonna keep it here, but maybe in the future we're gonna add some small fisheries around here with some smaller boats. I think that can be quite nice. Have some small fish boats swarming around this area right over here. First up and foremost, let's start building this port up. Now, a port is often neatly set up with a lot of 90 degrees and 45 degrees angles on the road. So we're going to use that over here as well. We're going to set up this port entrance and use a port road all the way to the harbor area. Keep it nice and straight, and then hopefully push some land inwards, basically creating a 90-degree angle harbor area right here, when we could then hopefully put on some cranes on here. So let's go. And here we are, the start of our port. As you can see, I pushed back a lot of land here in this section making use of the space that we have. But as you can see already, I put in the first container cargo lines, and there is enough space now for these ships also to turn around, which I feel is way more realistic. Now, if we look at the start right here, we're just gonna come in this section, and we have a two-way street all the way into the end. But then we separate the cargo cranes a little bit from the port itself. I feel like here we can detail in between just a little bit with some surface tool and maybe some props here and there to make it a little bit more special. And then here, of course, in the center, we're gonna do a grid-shaped container cargo yard. We have 4 different options available to us right now. We have the cargo containers where you can really see the containers laying down. I feel like we should use this at the beginning of our port where, you know, the cranes are being loaded and unloaded. So it should be here around this area with a lot of different colors of the containers. I think that can be quite nice. Then in the back, we could have like this small storage section right here, where maybe some containers are stored inside. And then we also have these teeny tiny oil tank thingies, containers, which I might be able to squeeze in around here. I'm also thinking extending the port to this section away to this canal as well. Maybe add some oil industry around here. It can be quite interesting. So maybe I should put it there. And then we also have this beautiful ore storage field right here. I think it looks quite nice. For now, I'm not gonna place that much for now because I'm also thinking what to do about electricity and water supply. Now it is connected because as you can see, it's already working. I've just extended the water pipes and the electricity lines from down here under the river through this side as well. But of course, the port is going to use a lot of electricity. So I'm thinking of maybe building an own power plant somewhere here as well, that it can serve as its own electricity surface around here. And maybe we can add some water sewage treatment as well here. I think it can look quite nice, especially around this lake area. I feel like that would look quite natural, but also quite nice to have some bigger water treatment plant around this area. But for now, maybe you already wanted it to see as well. Of course, let me showcase how the bridge works, because it actually works quite nicely. So as you can see, the container ship is now turning to our incoming as well from the other side. This is already unloaded quite a lot of cargo here into our ports, but this will go up eventually with a classic ding-dong sound. It goes quite high. I feel like it doesn't need to be going that high, but to be fair, it is an amazing look to see how this runs quite smoothly and quite nicely. So all in all, I think this looks really amazing. Again, we already have 2 container ships here incoming. That's one with a lot of cargo, and in the back there's another one. They all serve their own cranes, and as I've learned from City Planner Builds with his tutorial online about the ports, you just need to keep the simulation going, because then this port will get easily upgraded so you can unlock more and more buildings along the way. So we're gonna do that. I'm just gonna let the simulation run for now and place these container yards all around this area in a grid-shaped form. I'll be right back. Hopefully. That looks really good though. Does the crane work? Does the crane move? Tell me that the crane moves. It does not. That is a pity though. If it would just go, you know, to the back and to the front, I don't know. Something. A little. That's a shame. That is a shame. Maybe next time maybe with a future update. But these bridges really look amazing. Okay, let me address the elephant in the room. First, we had our first patch by Iceflake Studios. As you can see, the UI got an overhaul. The pause screen looks a little bit different, but I do like it. I do like it a lot, especially with my low vision. I really like that these tabs are now way more visible to me on which tab I am, for instance. So this is way better, way easier for me. So I do like it. I also like the visuals. It has a quite nice update here. It feels a little bit more, the atmosphere feels a little bit more Anno Pax Romana, if I have to be honest, especially when it rains and it comes to weather situations. And because I do like this setting, I also deleted the mod Time and Anarchy mod, because I just wanted to, yeah, feel and experience the game a bit more. So right now it is summer in Richie Canaletto, but it is how many degrees out here? Well, it's a nice sunny day at this point. It's 24 degrees Celsius, so that's quite nice. But when I was playing, it also rained and we also had a thunderstorm. So I think it's nice to see, for you guys as well, to see these weather options available to us in the game. Now it looks a little bit more, you know, realistic. Anyway, what I did here, as you can see, is finishing up basically all the warehouses that were available to us. And as you can see, I kept it quite easy. The small warehouse container yards right over here. Again, I already put one element of this one in right here and two small warehouses over here. I have to be quite honest. Harbor building is not the thing I do often, so I find it quite difficult to be honest. Also, what I can see right now is that we are exporting quite a lot of products. Import wise, we don't have a lot of oh, hello bridge, a lot of imports right now. As you can see, these boats are empty, these ships are all empty, but they do leave with a lot of export products. So that is a little bit tricky, because of course, this harbor area is basically full of storage, right? So storage is being placed here by these trucks and they do come in. But yeah, if we have 3 lines of ships, then the storage is already quickly out of it as well. And the only problem that I have as well is that our city is not that large. We only have 11,000 people right now. So if we look at our demand bar right here, we can see that a lot of people want to live in Richie Canaletto, which is good. But as you can see, like even industry, we don't have enough demand yet to fully expand a big industry zone right here, because the unemployment rate at this moment, even, let me check that as well. Let me see. That is quite low as well for a city this size. It's under 2% unemployment rate. So that is really low. We need to add more people in Richie Canaletto, get that unemployment rate up, and then we can have like a little bit more heavy industry towards this zone, which eventually, hopefully, will fill up this port even further. Now, as I was playing this though, we do continue to export more goods. So milestone wise, to get more unique buildings in, it goes up, but it's not going up that quickly, right? So we just have to wait and see how that goes. I think for now, I'm gonna leave the port as it is, because it is functional, which I'm very happy about. I did put in some forest industry right around this section right here. There was a forest just here, basically. So I thought it would be wise to add this industry so we do have more wood and timber to export. We have an overproduction now of that. And I put in a small industry zone right here, but I need to detail just a little bit further, and I'm even thinking of maybe adding some factories here in the center as well. But again, for now, I do want to hear your opinion as well, and maybe your advice, because I know for a fact that we can zone in this area, right? Look, we can zone industry right here. Is that a thing that we should be doing though? Is that normal that we should have like factories in our port? Or is it normal just to have storage options only? I'd like to hear your thoughts about this anyway, because again, this is quite new to me. Do we have like an industry section or something like that we can create? I don't know. Let me know. For now, I'm just gonna detail just this a little bit further around these areas right here across the cranes, and maybe the entrance just a little bit. But I need to do something else. It's been a few days and I need to do something else. Stay tuned. So let's take a closer look, shall we? Already it is a fall in the game, so seasons are changing as well. And I did some detailing, but I did just some small detailing here around the cranes and around the entrance, because it's hard and difficult for me to do so when I am not completely sure what the end result is going to be. However, I do think this is quite nice. Around the cranes we have some woodwork, some more containers, and some industrial props to make this a little bit more unique. And we place some decals underneath. The same goes over this side with some more containers as well, making sure this is nice and neatly organized for our cargo ships to enter this area. I feel like this works out quite nicely. At the entrance of our port right here, I just spruced it up with some trees and some bushes. Thank God for the Ice Flake Studios update that we can now also place these trees and bushes way closer to each other and closer to the street, which I really enjoy. Again, this is not finished yet. I do intend to place some Dutch traffic signs around here and extend fencing around here. But yeah, we've not unlocked every building just yet. So we're gonna have to wait and see how this turns out. But traffic is coming in. It's getting a little bit busier, as you can see, which I really like. And again, love the fact that we can place this now so close to the street where we have some overhanging foliage over these highways. I think it just creates an extra dimension to this area as well, which is quite nice. Now, as for the port itself, why it's getting it a little bit more busier? Well, I tried something out here. This is not detailing, but I just wanted to make sure that you can do this maybe yourself as well. Industry placing here works out just fine, which I think is quite nice. I might zone some offices as well. I think, you know, with this whole harbor and port area, we could use some office zonings. That should be normal in my opinion, but correct me if I'm wrong. Also, it is quite important, as you can see, to place a car park right here, because I was thinking, where the heck should these employees park their car? I hope they are not walking all the way around this highway, which some people, they did. So, which is quite the task for itself. So props to the people who decided to walk all the way over here. But of course, it is important then, if you place an industry zoning around here, that your employees can park their car, which they happily do inside of the port. It should not be like outside of the port. They can easily access this as well, and then they can easily walk towards their work. So all in all, I think I'm quite happy for now. I need to empty my dishwasher and fold up my laundry because the dryer is also ready. So for now, the port is set and working in Richie Canaletto, and let's just see where this takes us in the future. If you made it this far at the end of the video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and see you next time. Stay tuned.